I've just loved getting to know Simpsonville Church, your team that came and did the electrical work left a huge impression on us and my son Dave, who owns the ranch, and he was very, very grateful for that. We've already used the power unit 4 or 5 times because the power goes out often, and so it's just been really good. One time for like 8 or 9 hours, we ran the generator in November, and it worked just slick. And all we need to do, I'm going to look for a way. I think we wanted to do it is make it so that we can tell when the power comes on, there's some sort of light. I'm hoping that we can do that, and saves us going back over there, checking and trying to figure that out. But we talked about that last year, so we hope that at some point we can do that. So we found that you guys can really, really work and get a lot done, and so we've got these projects for you. But I want to give you some perspective first. You've kind of come into the Kingdom Air Corps life in a time of real massive growth and need. And so I've been working on developing mission aviation in closed countries for about, well, especially in Russia. When I made the first flights into Russia in '91, I began to realize that 96% of the towns and villages in Far East Russia have no roads. Now you might think that 96% of the towns and villages is nothing, but there are many more towns and villages in Far East Russia than there are Alaska. And it's populated, but it's isolated. And so working in missions, and when I say working in missions, my job in missions was to open up new areas where there needs to be churches. So these are places where there is no ministry, Christian ministry, going on. In fact, in a lot of the far north region, I retired about 15 years ago from Sen International and started building Kingdom Air Corps because of knowing this region and how isolated it is and the desperate need of starting churches. That was my passion. That became my passion. And the only way that we could do it, I found and knew early on, was by aircraft. That was my work in Russia for Alaska for all of those years. And I knew that this is what's going to have to be done for this. So I went to seminary. I got my master's degree in intercultural studies, and I wrote my thesis and a book on that, Reaching the Russian Far East, Church Planning with the Use of Missionary Aircraft. So that's been my study and my work all along. And then we might be able to put that right in this hat. There's this hat, this bag. I don't know if this will work. See if that will. There you go. And so this is the big picture. So then all of these Russian guys and gals started coming to Kingdom Air Corps, along with students from Laterno University, Moody Bible Institute, and other Bible schools. They started to come. Now there's a cadre of hundreds of young people who are missionary pilots in Africa, South America, Indonesia. They're with Missionary Aviation Fellowship, Jungle Aviation and Radio Service, with Wycliffe Bible Translators, New Tribes Missions, and all of these organizations send their young people or their appointees or candidates to Kingdom Miracle, where I train them in bush flying, mountain flying, and a low altitude flying, weather flying, all of the bad stuff no one else wants to teach because of liability and because of the danger of it. So generally most schools won't teach this kind of stuff. But the truth is, a lifetime of flying into these kind of regions, you're gonna fly in some of this stuff. And you're gonna need to be taught how to do it, how to do it safe. There are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old pilots. As well as a person who knows how to share Christ and the gospel and to start churches.
Wow.
So really my heart is I'm a soul winner. I see people, I love people, and I want them to know Jesus as their Savior. And when I go to these places, all of these villages up in through here, and you see the people have no idea what it means to be a Christian. It breaks your heart. I think about all of my life. I think about a Christian wife. I think about how I grew up in a church where the Bible was taught, where missionaries came, and I caught a vision for being a missionary. How important that was. I think tonight how blessed I am to have had a life like this of serving the Lord. A great privilege and joy. I want that in the lives of many more young people. So we have all of these young people coming on board. We now have 5 families that are coming as full-time missionaries. One of those families was here a couple of weeks ago, Pam and Morgan, and Joe and Teresa. One of our guys called me today. He says, "Getting married." I said, "Get married while I'm here in the States so that I can come." "When will that be?" I said, "April would be a good time." And so, you know, I promised them, God loves you and Dwayne has a wonderful plan for your life and a plane for your wife. No plane, no gain.
Yeah.
And so that's the way it is for the gospel. No plane, no gain for the kingdom. And so we're working to do that. Well, it takes infrastructure. It takes airplanes. And so it's a thrilling thing. Well, I can tell you much more, but there's testimony of the fact that kid right there, in one of the 7 villages that we bring kids in. And year after year, 28 years of Brooks Range Bible Camp. Started by floating rivers, hauling canoes up on the float plane, just like that. 2 canoes, one on each float. Fly them up, land on the lake, go get the kids, bring them in, and float down the river. And, or in June, land on the ice. So his village has a lake that's very popular. It's called Chandler Lake. Well, that lake has got this much ice on it still in June. Land 206 there, go have camp for a week. Just hope that the wind will keep blowing from the south, so the airplane and the ice will stay at the north end. Otherwise, you got to hike and carry the raft all the way down to the other end of the lake to take the raft out over the water and get onto the ice so that you take off in the 206. I was in Havara. The leadership of the Baptist Union of Evangelical Christian Baptist Churches, 1,500 churches across Russia. And we built 142 of those churches. Some of them almost as big as your church.
Wow.
That's right.
That's great.
And crew after crew, thousands of people like you. Bricklayers, block layers, electricians, plumbers, heaters, all of this, thousands of them, 600 from my home church, which is way smaller than your church. These people had come go there? Why would you go there? Most of you have a husband or wife, or you yourself would say, I hate the cold. You would say that. That's why nobody goes. Have been fixed up, overhauled, repaired, radios, paint jobs, all done up at Kingman Airport in our hangar. And those aircraft are now in Russia, certified with Russian letters on it, RA6248 Golf. And they're all there, allowed to be certified and registered as experimental aircraft. All running on car gas. And so we're finding airplanes left and right. People are giving aircraft. 5 aircraft since September. 3 in the last 3 weeks, and there's one of them. A beautiful amphibious PA-14 family cruiser, 4-seat, 180 horse, retractable gear on floats. And a pagan gave that airplane. And he texts me, you don't know me, but I'm on a deer stand here in South Carolina. And he said, I got an idea, I got to give you an airplane. I said, I'll take it. And I didn't know what it was, and he sent me a picture of it, and it was really something. So I flew it down. He and I flew it 2 days ago, 3 days ago. It would come. Whatever. Friday, we came with a 60-knot tailwind. Woo! In that airplane at 6,000 feet, 5,500 feet, and we sailed from Memphis, Tennessee to Columbia, South Carolina in 3 hours and a half. With those big old things hanging out. It was a neat flight. And I slept and he flew. And then I flew and he slept. And so we kept her up, kept her right side up. And it was great. So anyway, Russian pastors have said to me, Dwayne, we need 9 more airplanes. And 9 more pilots. Get them to us as soon as we can. And we will support every missionary pilot with wages and salary. Never heard of this before in the history of the Russian church.
Oh my God.
And so the Lord is just showering us with airplanes. And we're going to get them over there as quick as we can. Now we know the way, we know how to do it, we know how to go through the registration and certification processes. Now with the 3 that we've got done before. So our plans are to put airplanes and pilots on Kamchatka. Last summer I trained a guy by the name of Andrei. Alexei from Sakhalin is going to be have an airplane here to cover all of this area on down these Kuril Islands. There's no way except by some boats to open up these villages without the gospel in that area. They want an airplane. We'll have 2 airplanes here, Yakutsk and Tinda. And Magadan wants an airplane, and up in here in Chukotka. There's 12 regions that we're going to put these airplanes. So, we need another hangar. And in Palmer, Alaska, the senior citizens wanted to give away a building, a garage, 44 long and 46 foot wide. And so they contacted me. The airport manager is a believer, and he is helping us. And he says, here's the lot, there's the building 400 yards away. If you can figure out a way to get that building from there to here, I'll lease you a lot, a good sized lot. And so you can make that lot what it needs to be to put a foundation down, a slab. And we've designed the building so that it's going to be 20 foot longer, 46 foot wide, high enough for the tails of our airplanes to go in. And we'll have 3 airplanes to operate in the wintertime. So we've never been able to really operate in the wintertime. I did that all of my aviation career in Alaska. I fly almost every day in the wintertime, 30, 40, 50 below zero. I developed systems, I developed infrastructure, I developed the kind of things that were needed to do that. But we're training these missionary pilots now. Instead of just in the summer, we're going to do it all winter long. And with the new guys all coming on board as all flight instructors, and we're tied in, we're teamed up with Alaska Bible College, 1 block away from the airport. And there we're teaching them ground school. I taught this last winter, September through December, instrument ground school, and another course was private pilot ground school. He was in it for a while, and so we're training there. I asked the president of Alaska Bible College to get the I-20 certification to get foreign students to come with student visas, a big deal. So this and he told me just a month ago that he got the certification to do that. So I went and found 4 foreign students that are coming. One guy who's a solid believer in a Christian church in Pakistan wants to be a missionary pilot. A family of 5 in Yakutia, Tinda, down here. And another guy from Yakutsk up here. And another guy from Blagoveschensk over here, where we're going to put one of the airplanes. So God has given us this opportunity to really develop missionary aviation in the former Soviet Union. Okay, so this building needs to be moved over. 2 Sundays ago, I spoke at our church in Glacier View, up the road, 14 miles from King Ranch. I spoke there. I only had a few minutes, but I went down to Arnie's house. Arnie has a building moving company. He's got I-beams that stand this tall, 54 feet long. They'll go under or through almost any building with sets of dollies that go under these I-beams. They know how to raise these buildings off of concrete foundations and walk those buildings wherever you want to take it. But if that building were to be moved anywhere, see this building? This is what we just built in the last 3 months in Russia. And we're building a 4-plex there. And for 4 families. In the last 4 months, this is what we've done there. This is what some of you are going to do. We hope that you get the idea and the picture that we want a lifelong, long-term ministry with you guys helping. We want to be a part of your church. We want you to be a part long-term with Kingdom Miracle. So however that comes about, we're in it for the long haul with you. We want you to know that. And so projects like this are needed. Hangars, runways. We've already built a runway. We've built hangars. Now, in Russia, we've got these projects. Now, got the project to move the building. This brother said, there's 2 dump trucks, certified, bonded. There's a big excavator. There's a D6 cat. There's a compactor, and there's 2 lowboy trucks to haul them to Palmer. You can use anything you want. We need operators, operators on some of this equipment. We need electricians to take the 20-foot extension and add it to the electrical system that's already in the building. So we're going to build 20 feet onto it, put a 50-foot door, swings up just like on our hangar. That's all got to be wired to a hydraulic system that actuates these jacks to come up. We've got to do whatever it takes to bring electric into the new part of that. We're going to make an apartment. We're going to put in some bathrooms. And that's what we're going to do with the building. And we're going to start using it this summer, and we're going to be in it next winter, operating it full-time so that we can be teaching every day. So we've got to prepare the ground. We've got to take out that much potato dirt and excavate it out and bring in gravel, compact it, and put on a slab. And put the plumbing and everything else that needs to be in the slab. And we've got to do that. So I don't know when you're coming, but that is a big project. Secondly, we're going to put an addition on to one of our buildings at King Ranch called Walt's Cabin. And the family that is coming full-time with Kingdom Air Corps flight instructor, he's head of my flight department. We're going to build out a big room off behind it, and so that this family can live there. We're going to build another cabin next to the cafe for our cooks. So there's that. So it needs wiring, it needs plumbing. We have the trees. We drug out the trees from down in the woods, down below, and we brought up trees, and so we've got enough trees. And we cut all of the wood ourselves. So those are the 3 big projects there, plus the one over in Russia, and there will be many more.